Hello.
Hello. Yes, we are back once again for the next episode of A Conversation with Kely. Once again, I don't know why this keeps happening with this show, whether it's just there's other stuff happening and we just kind of lose track of it. But once again, here to cover the last two episodes of Stars on Mars. Episodes 9 through 10, we were kind of falling off of the show in the last, review we did, but we'll talk about if it potentially picked back up or not. We'll get into that. But before we do, I am here with my lovely beautiful co-host, Allie. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. I had a pretty chill day. I started going for a little walk, and then I was going to go take a bus to get my eyebrows threaded and tinted, but Sean ended up saying he had to go to the bank, so he ended up driving me there. So I didn't really get to go for much of a walk today. So I pretty much just chilled when I got home after my little self-care for a little bit. I just chilled at home and just watched stuff with you, watched this, and then just did some stuff for one of my current orgs as well. But other than that, just chilled and
also was safe in on your tribe, so we love that.
Yes.
But we're not here to talk about. But for me,
I also got you something.
I was gonna get into that. I didn't do a ton today. Kind of just chilled, watched stuff with you. Watched a movie called Jules that was really fucking weird, but I liked it. And then also I got this random package at my door. I'm not sure what it was, but there was this Stanley tumbler thing that I think came here. I think I'm supposed to drink water out of it potentially. I'm not really sure. And then also I got this sweatshirt here. I'm not really sure who it's from. It's definitely not from somebody on this call, but I don't know. It's, I guess there's some sort of special occasion coming up. I'm not really sure, but
it is Kevin Day. I will say it's Kevin Day on Friday.
Sure, yeah, get excited, I guess. But we're not here to talk about my birthday, nor should we talk much about my birthday because it's just my birthday. It's not really anything that special. But anyway, we are here to talk about the latest two episodes, like I said, of Stars on Mars episodes, season 1, episodes 9 through 10. Now, like I said before this, we were kind of at a point with this show, I feel like in the last episode where we were really kind of starting to fall off of it. It was really just getting to a point where it's okay, we've seen what this is. It's just starting to get very repetitive. It's starting to get very uninteresting, starting to feel very stretched out. And I think it's pretty safe to say I didn't really have very high expectations going into this next episode. I was kind of just well, there's 4 episodes left. Hopefully it's not the worst thing ever. But I got to say, at least for me, I think they did pick it back up a bit. I enjoyed these last 2 episodes a lot more than the last one we talked about. I thought that they did a better job when it came to the strategy. I thought there was a lot of interesting stuff going on. There's still some stuff that's not the greatest. The missions are still not the greatest. And there are some things that I'm not the biggest fan of. But I think in terms of strategy, in terms of interesting sort of conversations, I think these episodes did their job pretty well, and I thought they were definitely a lot more interesting than what we've been getting.
Yeah, these episodes were honestly way better than a couple of the recent ones. Obviously some missions are kind of iffy, but some are some actually are pretty good. Some are just kind of stupid, but these episodes actually were really interesting to watch for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, I enjoy what we got here. And I honestly think I'm starting to realize, and I think you'll agree with me, my enjoyment of the episode is very contingent upon who is base commander and who the episode revolves around, because when we had Kat, who I wasn't really invested in at all because I thought she was just being really annoying the entire episode. I wasn't into it. And then this episode revolves around someone I actually have really liked all season, so I was liking it a lot more because of it. So it has something to do with it as well.
Yeah, I honestly... this episode was I found Kat a little bit annoying for sure, but people like a Porsha and Ariel, Adam, Tinashe, all them, I love them so much.
Oh yeah. Marshawn definitely was better for me. And
and obviously Marshawn, I feel like he's definitely like checked back into the game more the last couple episodes.
Yeah,
so like, he was just honestly like pretty good both these episodes.
Yeah, so we'll get into episode 9 here, which I thought was honestly like one of their best episodes. Like out of the ones we've had, I think this was definitely like one of my favorites. But it's the 14th day of the experiment. We see Ariel notices the door to the cupboard is opening by itself, despite repeatedly closing it. I will get this out of the way right now. I thought this mission was pretty stupid, where they end up going with this. Most of the missions we have in these episodes, it just kind of feels like they're running out of ideas at this point. Like they're just trying to figure out like what else can we do? What other crazy situations can we get them into? And this was just another example. It's like really some like demonic presence is like in the house with them. It was just, what did you think of this whole thing the way they started this out?
Oh, I thought it was just kind of like dumb. There was like kind of no point for it. I just wanted to know like why. I was just questioning why it was a thing.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty dumb the way they handled it. But Porsha says they're all trying to bring their spirits back up after being through so much mentally, physically, and spiritually. As if they have if they have conflict and drama, it's hard to get the morale boost back. So Marshawn then confronts Lance, and we get some pretty juicy drama here that I honestly wish we got to see more of, because we only get a little bit of it in this episode, but I thought it was pretty good. We see he's still really not happy with how things played out last mission. He said he had one job, which Lance takes a few seconds to realize. He was in fact talking about yesterday's mission. Lance tells him to slow his roll and says he's not going anywhere, which Marshawn says he's tired of this, and he leaves the room. And Lance says this is very frustrating, and then he was surprised. He thought him and Marshawn were going to be friends forever. And again, I mean, just seeing the differences in how like Marshawn's played the game versus how Lance has played the game, where Marshawn is like way more, especially these two episodes, I feel like was actually like really strategic and was like making a lot of very like significant game decisions, whereas Lance just doesn't want to be a part of like any of that. He just kind of wants to like bro down, and he just kind of wants to like, you know, focus on the missions and nothing else. And it's like
since he lost one of his like closest friends, like he's bonded with like mostly just the athletes, and that's it. Like he's really just been kind of like defeated, it seems.
Yeah, and that's why I don't really have much sympathy for what happens to Lance in this episode, just because the fact, like, I feel like he did this to himself. Like, he could have taken the time to really bond with people and really get to know them more. He could have tried to patch things up with Ariel, but he just didn't really do that much. And I feel like because of that, like, he just put himself in such a shitty position. So, you know, everything that he talks about in this episode, I don't really feel him for, because I feel like he very well could have avoided this.
So yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, so Porsha says that leadership is one of her strengths. She's one to just bring people together, and she does have hopes of being able to be base commander today. She did not get disappointed yesterday when they didn't choose her, but she's going to play it if not so on the nose. So we get a segment with Tinashe, who's playing with dominoes. She thinks that there's a bird or something stuck in the vent. It doesn't sound good to her. This part of the episode is just so stupid. Like, it's a fucking alien. Yeah. We know there's an alien presence in like the hab. Like, it was so obvious what's going on. They try to like make these exciting, but I think it's really just the fact that like we know this is a simulation. We know this isn't real. It's like it's very hard to take stuff like this seriously in this show. But
for sure.
So Ariel tells Porsha that she's a whole new Porsha, and Adam asks if she's in her base commander hopeful bra again, and Porsha says that maybe or maybe not. Adam lets her know that she has his vote and she's always given it to him straight, and he asks what he needs to do to avoid the bottom. And I like that she tells him, like, you know, what to do this time. He says he doesn't usually do anything outside of what he's told to do, so he can come up to Tinashe and say that if she needs something to let her know, or ask if they all need anything else. And he has to think of those things because that is what will elevate him to the top. And Adam thinks that this is the right time for Porsha to be base commander. He also thinks that Porsha and Tinashe are the reason he's grown, and that Porsha has seen his potential, and that he's a critical member to this team overall. I'm not going to lie. Porsha was giving me like major winner vibes in like both of these episodes. Like I could like winning this game.
Yeah, I think the winner's either going to be Tinashe or Porsha, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think so too. The thing that I have been a little bit disappointed by is I would have liked to see more scenes between that three of like Tinashe, Porsha, and Adam, because I feel like they've done such a good job of like protecting each other and really just trying to, hype each other up and, keep each other in like the best positions possible. And we just haven't gotten to see a lot of like the scheming that they've been doing. Like we had that great move from Adam in that one episode. And later on, Porsha kind of talks about like how good she is with like Tinashe and Adam, but I just would have liked to see more of that trio. I liked when they solidified it, and I feel like we just haven't seen enough of it overall.
Yeah, we never really seen them like those three just like talk game together a lot.
Yeah, something that does frustrate me in this show, and look, maybe it's just because I'm used to in other shows, but like everyone is always so open about everything. Like they will have like you'll think Portia's having a conversation with Adam, and then Paul, who she's not aligned with at all, is like sitting right there, and it really frustrates me because it's like this could be such a good like conversation between the two of them, but like you have someone like Paul or like Andy in one episode was like there, and it's like they're not a part of this like at all. I wish that they weren't so open about things, so we could see a lot more of like the one-on-ones and things like that, because they're really
these people like
show.
Yeah, these people just like blurt out everything. They don't keep anything like a secret.
Yeah, and it's a little bit less interesting, I feel like, when there isn't like when everything's kind of like known,
Yeah, exactly.
So we do get a segment. So basically, Portia's feeling like competition is pretty fierce, and she wanted to have a fierce look. Plus, she's channeling Uhura from Star Trek. Guys, I don't know Star Trek, okay? I'll be honest with you. I could be wrong, but I'm going to say Uhura, I think is how it's pronounced. So it's time to choose a new base commander. They all wonder who it could possibly be, jokingly teasing Porsha about her wearing her commander black outfit. I thought she was killing it here. And like the outfit she was wearing and then having like her actual hair. I thought it was so good. I love that Porsha was just like doing everything she could except saying that she wanted to be base commander. She literally says that like she wants people to campaign for her. She didn't want to do it on her own. So
she just like she really wanted it, but she wanted them to like get it for her.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, good on her because it didn't work out when she tried. So Tinashe then nominates Porsha, who gives a lot of credit to her for being supportive towards her and feeling safe with her, so she's rooting for her. Adam also nominates her. Everyone seems down for it, and with that, Porsha is this week's base commander. Probably like the easiest base commander that we've had. Like there was no sort of like they're just like down for it, and Porsha's base commander. Honestly, I thought this was a great moment for her. I think that she by far, like out of everyone in the cast, is like the most level-headed. She's done such a good job of like kind of being like this person that's like always trying to hype people up, always trying to like keep the positivity. And I feel like it was only a matter of time before she was base commander. So it was really great to see her finally get to take on that role. And I thought she honestly really killed it here.
Oh, she did so well. Like she was like definitely like the star of this episode for sure.
Yeah, she was one of the best base commanders I think they've had for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's you, I think.
Oh, no, I think you only read.
Oh yeah, you're right. There's a little more for me. So Lance feels that she's playing all sides and that everyone needs to be careful of her. Porsha then gives a speech saying that she wasn't expecting this, but it is what it is, and it is her, and she loves all of them. Marshawn then thinks that Porsha could make a good base commander, and that's a comfortable position for him, so he has her back. Lance is also thinking he's done after this, with Ariel being someone on Porsha's side, and this is what pisses me off about Lance. Like, he just assumes that he's in, like, a bad spot. He does nothing to like improve it. Like if he had gone to Porsha and like talked to her and said, hey, pick me for mission specialist. But no, he refuses to be mission specialist because he didn't like doing it with Kat the last time. And he wants to be out in the field and things like that. So it's just like, I thought like the last episode, he was starting to get a handle on things where he started to realize like he needs to be mission specialist at one point. And he can't like keep going out in the field. He needs to show his versatility a bit more. But I feel like he just kind of like gave up, and it was just really frustrating to watch.
It was. I'm just like, sir, you're not helping yourself.
Yeah.
Porsha then goes after the base duties with all of them, saying today is all about mental health, and for those who want to go outside, they will be able to play football. But inside the house will be a spa day. Marshawn and Paul will be going outside while everyone else stays outside or inside. This is outside twice on the notes.
Oh.
It's funny.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Porsha came in and she just said, you know what, we're just going to have a self-care day. We don't have to do anything crazy. Like, let's just try to relax. Let's try to keep the peace. I thought this was great.
Oh, me too. Marshawn talks to Paul about him starting out as quarterback, and they enjoy tossing around the football.
Yeah, I mean, the athletes are going to athlete pretty much.
Paul says he felt a bond with Marshawn since day one, especially with both being athletes, and that's important because he's been in the bottom three since he's been here, and with friends and allies, he will be there till the end.
I will say, Paul impressed me more in these last 2 episodes. I haven't really been feeling him like since he's been there, but I feel like he actually did some pretty good work in these 2 episodes to like really kind of find his footing in the game.
Yeah.
He knows. And I think the thing with him is like he knows he's at a deficit. He's at a point where it's like he doesn't really have anyone aside from Kat. And I think he develops a very genuine connection with Marshawn in these 2 episodes that I could potentially see it taking Paul pretty far. Now, considering what happens in the next episode, I'm not so sure. I think Paul isn't going to last much longer, but I do think
I do like Paul's. He seems like a nice guy. He just isn't. I thought he was just kind of there in the game, like in this game, because he's always in the bottom 3. But he definitely like impressed me more these episodes for sure.
Yeah, especially this one. I thought he did a really good job with in trying to, in trying to really just do what he can to improve his game. Like he's doing what I want Lance to do, where it's like recognizing that you're not in a good spot, trying to do what you can to improve it, making connections with people. Like I thought Paul did a really good job with that in this episode.
Oh, definitely. He honestly was he's definitely improved.
Oh yeah.
He talks to Marshawn about how they're going to get him out of there, and he's on his last legs, and Marshawn says he should be mission specialist for the week, as that would be the best thing for him, which he agrees on. Tinashe notices once again there's something in the vent.
Again, so I can't get over how fucking stupid this is.
I know, that was so dumb.
Going back to Paul, though, again, I love that he's realizing, mission specialist is the best possible position. I like that Marshawn's trying to get him into that spot, because I feel like Marshawn has kind of been in this spot where he's kind of been trying to figure out what to do in this game, and I think that he really kind of takes the reins a bit in these next 2 episodes.
Yeah, he really does, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Lance talks to Kat, saying he woke up today thinking he's going home, and there are a lot of groups and he's only vibing with some of them, and she agrees, and he says his mentality is simply just that it's a Mars simulation and completing missions, and the extractions should be solely based on performance. She agrees and says they should be rewarded for working hard and not being each other's best friends, and he says it'll be interesting to see who Porsha picks as her mission specialist. And thinking it will be either Tinashe or Adam, and she says there is a social component to this, that, and that she didn't expect, and thinks they need to ride or die together, and he agrees.
I don't know how somebody comes into a show knowing you're voting people out, knowing you're voting on who's going to be base commander, and then not thinking there's going to be a social component. I really just don't know, Allie. I don't know what else to say. These two are frustrating to watch. Her being
both of them are just
there was a social component, and him being oh, I really just wish it was based off the challenges, which literally nobody fucking does that. Maybe in the beginning they did, but now they're at a point in the game where it's they've made connections and they're going to do what they can to put themselves in the best position. And I just wish Lance would have put 2 and 2 together. Here's the thing. You can say this is what it should be, but that doesn't mean that's what it is. And it's too late in the game to change the meta at that point. If the meta is we go for people in the way we want to go for people, then you just got to go with that. That precedent has been set. You can't go against it. It was so frustrating to me in this
Lance
episode.
was so frustrating, and so was Kat. Both of them are just
yeah.
They're both so frustrating to watch.
They really are.
The wellness spa is open, and Tinashe, Adam, and Porsha are painting each other's faces, and Ariel joins, and Adam asks how she's doing, and she says she's having a harder time socially here, already having conflict with Lance, and was going to move on from it, and Porsha says that they should continue to do more things like this, so she knows how she's amongst people who are in this and comfortable with her, and doesn't have to be embarrassed or anything, and has support.
Yeah, I thought that was great. I mean, this is exactly what Porsha needs to be doing. It's like people are starting to see Porsha as like a really big threat. They're starting to see Porsha as somebody that could like really win the game. So I think it's good that she's trying to come in here and be like, listen, I'm going to be your cheerleader of sorts. Like, I'm going to hype you up. I'm going to do what I can to make you feel as good about yourself as you possibly can. And that brings them closer to her. That makes them feel comfortable to her. And I think Porsha's just really killing it. And some of it I don't even think is necessarily strategy. I think Porsha's just a generally really just positive person who wants to try to bring out the best in everybody, and I think that's why it's for her. So yeah, I mean, I thought this was a great little thing she's did.
She's just the type of person who just wants them to like get along and stuff. Yeah,
she's not here for the drama.
No, she's just here for like the positivity.
Unless it involves her, then she's here for the drama. Because we'll get to a moment with her in the next episode.
Because she can stand up. Because she stands up for herself.
Oh, yeah. And there's a moment in the next episode especially that was really great from her that we'll get into.
Yes. Lance comes in and says he's never done this, and Porsha draws him a mask. Lance is glad Porsha is trying to distress everyone's mental health, but in 51 years of living, he's never done this, but he's feeling a little more relaxed now, realizing he's not a quitter and wants to stay in this thing.
Oh, great. Now you're realizing that. Wow, I'm so happy for you, Lance. Like, here's your fucking medal. Like, what do you want?
Oh my god. Ugh, frustrating.
Yeah, he really is.
Marshawn and Paul go to Porsha and says they decided Paul is going to be the mission specialist, as everyone has a right to throw their hat into the ring. And she asks if he wants to step up, and he says he's absolutely ready for it. And she's unsure if she actually wants him to do it. And Marshawn says if she doesn't pick him, they will get overthrown. And she asks what he means if this is an alliance.
Yeah, I mean, that was a really pointed answer from him. It's like, we're going to get overthrown. And Portia's like, who's we? Like,
I know, right?
That's what I mean by these people just talk out in the open about everything. Like, this is a conversation that Marshawn should be having with Paul, like privately saying this, like not in front of Porsha, who, at least to what we've seen, is not aligned with Paul in any capacity. So it's like,
oh my god. Great. I know. She feels this is a very serious position, especially at this point of the game, and she's not sure if she 100% trusts everyone and thinks maybe not, and doesn't want to piss anyone off in this situation, but she knows there's no way she's ready to go home.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that she honestly played this very well, because something that I think a lot of people have not taken into consideration when it comes to being the mission specialist is a lot of the time it seems like people just like pick who they're like aligned with. But here's the thing, like, the mission specialist is safe. You are not safe if you're base commander. You could go. Like, they know what happened to Tallulah, and I think Porsha is really like being cognizant of that. If it's like, okay, like if I were to pick Paul could 100% fuck this up for me, and then I'm on the chopping block and I could go. So it's like, I thought it was really smart that she really kind of thought through this and didn't just think of like picking Paul. Like, I think Paul made a good case, but like, I think based on what we saw with him, especially in the next episode, this was the right choice. We'll get into it. This was definitely the right choice to not pick him.
Yes. Also, Tallulah, remember her? It feels like forever. It kind of feels like forever ago.
Because it was forever ago. We've literally been talking about the show all summer.
I know. It's crazy.
Around like May, I think.
Yeah, something like that. Marshawn is frantically looking for the peanut butter, which was honestly like a really funny segment.
This is the Marshawn I love. Like, give me more of this.
Yeah, this is why, like, I'm so happy he's like checked back into the game, because he's like getting back to his normal fun self. And like, I really want to see like a dynamic with like him and Gabriel from Claim to Fame.
Oh, that'd be so good.
Oh, that'd be so funny. He says the food he has been eating in the hab will taste like cardboard.
Yeah, it's such a funny scene. I love that.
As he's searching for it, he hears someone opening the vent.
So stupid.
What is the vent from Among Us?
I guess, yeah.
this game just turned into Among Us, you know?
I mean, basically, because there's an alien among them, and they have to go like, extinguish it.
True. Welcome back to the pandemic. Because that was the pandemic game.
Yeah.
Porsha tells Tinashe she's got to pick up a mission specialist, which Tinashe says she's down. Tinashe says she's always down to be in the field and feels she's good at it. She also says she has the experience as somebody who's done it before. And she tells Porsha they'd kill it. And then Porsha tells her she'll see if she gets the mission first to figure out what type of skill sets it's gonna need.
Yeah, which I like Tinashe here, like if she's down to do it, because Tinashe, I think, is one of the people who's like really good at both the field and being like, you know, front and center. And I like that she, you know, asks her if she's like down for it.
Yes, I'm so happy about that. I like them as like a duo too.
Yeah, I mean, them and Adam are, I think, at this point, like leagues above everyone else in terms of how they're playing. Like nobody's playing
definitely.
Those three.
I mean, Marshawn too, but not as much.
No, but he's not in the dominant position that those three are. Like they're in such a good spot, and like they're just the way they've been able to like run circles around everybody else. Like it's just like incredible.
Oh, for sure. They've been so like consistent.
Yeah.
They're so likable and consistent.
Oh yeah.
Tinashe says she's here to win and she's here to do whatever it takes to win. Mission specialist seems like a pretty good position to be in for her.
Yeah.
Which I was so happy that she's finally getting a little more airtime again, because for a while she was kind of like, she started off with a lot, but then like lately she was just kind of getting not that much. But now she's getting more again.
Yeah, I'm glad that she had a lot more to do in these last two episodes, because I was starting to think, I don't know if Tinashe is winning this game. They're not showing her enough. But now I feel like they're showing her more, and I could definitely see a path where she wins. Although, to me, at least in these two episodes, I kind of see Porsha as the front runner, but we'll see.
We'll definitely see.
Okay, so Shatner shows up on the TV and I will say, Shatner is also like checked back in. Last time he seemed like he was kind of on autopilot. This time he was like he was back in it. He was back in it. He delivered them a great message, and he said that the radar systems detected an unfamiliar signal inside the habitat. Something or someone is in there with them and could threaten their survival if they don't act fast and locate it immediately. And if they can't prove their home is safe, he'll order them to abandon the habitat. And he tells them that's not a good idea. The mission will test their adaptability and earn them a mission patch. He tells them the commander to pick a specialist and to avoid having any aliens burst out of her chest, because he doesn't think Fox has insurance for that, but then says insurance does cover that. And I thought that was a great moment. That was really funny.
I thought that was hilarious. That's like literally everyone was laughing.
Yeah, that was great. But Adam says that they've been hearing a lot of strange noises coming from the air ducts, and surprise, it's starting to make sense, even though it was so obvious what was going on. But sure.
Yeah.
He did a great job of hiding the suspension. Really didn't, but whatever. Porsha decides to then make Tinashe her mission specialist, thinks that they can get this done. Porsha says that she was impressed by Tinashe when she was mission specialist before, and she likes being able to know that you're doing your job and that you can handle it. And I mean, yeah, Tinashe's killed it as mission specialist, and this really is no different. So Paul then said he asked Porsha about being mission specialist, so he didn't end up on the bottom 3, so he's disappointed, but also a newbie, and a lot of things play on the favor for those who have already been there, so it's really not a safe position to be in. So the AI then tells the team that for this mission, they will all be in teams of 2. Team 1s and 2 must crawl through the air vents to locate a red button to stop rotating fan blades and allow access to a chamber where the intruder must be successfully located and neutralized. To complete the mission, Team 3 needs to clear out the debris from the evacuation vent and locate all teams and the neutralized intruder to exit the ventilation system. So she then decides to make Marshawn, who will be on the comms with Paul. The biodome that they will crawl and get to the intruder will be Ariel and Lance, which, I mean, crazy dynamic. But Kat and Adam will be
so funny
as well. Porsha, as base commander, says that she wants to bring everyone together and kind of let dynamics play out. And the only thing I will say here is I wanted to see more of the bickering between Lance and Ariel. She brings up how like they resume their feud, and I don't feel like we got to see enough of that here. It's like we know what she's talking about, but it felt like from the edit that like they kind of buried the hatchet, and now it seems like they haven't. So I want to see more of like what respawned their, you know, their whole like dislike towards each other, you know, like I want to see more.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'd love to see more of that too, honestly. Like I always want to see more of like the bantering and stuff.
yeah, well, I wouldn't say banter because they don't exactly like banter is more like, you know, you like each other, but you're
Well,
more
not like banter, like just like their back and forth.
yeah, I definitely want to see more of that. But you know, Ariel says her situation with Lance is just a weird one, as there's nothing they can agree on, so it's a really strange one. Marshawn also doesn't understand why she put the two of them together, but he's like very much the audience in this scenario. Like he's eating up all of this, and Porsha says that it's about adaptability, not comfortability, and Marshawn is just hoping that he could have been a fly on the wall with them. I thought that was a really funny moment, the way that he's like, I want to see more of this dynamic. Like he is as into this as the audience is, which I thought was just really funny.
Oh, I thought he was having a field day. He just thought it was so funny.
Oh yeah. So Paul is hoping he can prove his worth on this mission. Ariel feels that there's some big thing about her and Lance, and there is, but during the mission, you have to work well together. It doesn't matter if you like this person or not. And while this ends up being a very complicated mission for many, it's once again a successful one. I guess they're just never going to have another failed mission after what happened with Tallulah. They're going to make sure it's never failed. What did you think of like this mission overall?
This one I actually kind of liked. This one was like one of the more interesting ones that weren't like stupid, because this one, I don't know, this one just had like a strategy and like just had me like intrigued.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like for me, I feel like I've enjoyed all the missions that are like in the hab, and then the ones that are outside, I literally can't tell what's going on. So like
same, yeah.
I feel like the ones inside have been a lot better. Like it's been easier to tell what's going on. The missions themselves are interesting. There's been a lot more for people to do. Like the one they had with the biodome in episode 2, I really liked. The one they had with the AI, I really like because it involved everybody. This one, I thought was also pretty good. I enjoyed getting to see all the different tasks that people were doing. It wasn't like my favorite or anything, but compared to some of the other ones we've had, I thought it was actually pretty good. It doesn't change the fact that I feel like they just kind of don't know what to do, because they kind of already did an alien. They did the whole thing with like, oh, a UFO's here and we got to get rid of it. And they're literally doing an alien again. So it's like, you know, I just feel like they kind of ran out of ideas, but despite them being creatively bankrupt in that way, I did feel this was a fun mission to watch overall.
Oh yeah, this one was very enjoyable in my opinion.
Yeah. So it's now time to figure out who was and wasn't mission critical. And when debriefing, Tinashe brings up how, though Lance was mission critical, he's had a very hard time fitting in with everyone since Ronda has left. We know Tinashe has been after Lance for a while now. I feel like every time she's either mission specialist or base commander, she's always trying to go for him. She always wants him to go. And so she really kind of like holds nothing back and says like, yeah, I think that this is a problem here. Like we might have to worry about this. And I think she's absolutely right. Because like the whole mission's about adaptability, but I feel like Lance has done none of that. He hasn't adapted to anything. He didn't. He's kind of like resisted. Like he's kind of like resisted from adapting. He has kind of like you know, done what he, you know, put his foot down and say, I don't want to do this, and it's gotten him where he is. Like I said, I had like no sympathy for him because of that. So
because he's just given up, you know.
I mean, I wouldn't say given up. It's more just like, I don't think he put any, like he didn't do anything to improve his position. Like he made sure, like it's very much like
he literally only bonded with like the athletes, and that's it.
Yeah, like he didn't even try to like branch out. And I think that was just very disappointing. He let one conversation like ruin his entire game. He could have easily recovered from that, and he didn't do anything. So yeah, Tinashe then brings up Ariel and Porsha, who she says wasn't calm and was very loud on the comms. So they then go ahead and say Marshawn, Adam, and Kat, which means the bottom 3 are Lance, Paul, and for the first time, I believe in the bottom, Ariel is also at risk of leaving this round. And Ariel's feeling really upset that the first time she was on a team with Lynch, she's in the bottom 3. She finds it a bit personal and unfair, and she says that this was not an easy mission for her, and she jumped into it with hesitation and gave everything, which made her very upset. I did feel for Ariel here because I think that she's kind of at a point where she knows what she's good at and what she's not, and we know that she's not as good at the field, and that is where she really struggles. And like, being able to, she's much better in missions that are either inside, she did really well with like the AI one from what I remember, or she's good at the behind the scenes thing, like telling people what to do. She's very good at the like giving out instructions. She's very good at like talking, through scenarios and things like that. She's not as good in the field thing, and because of that, like you could see she was really struggling. So
she was just like, she was having like such a tough time with this one because obviously she's been usually so strong. So I definitely felt for her there.
So Paul then says, while everyone was mission critical to some degree, he probably had a lesser role compared to everyone else, but he can only do what was asked, but being put in the positions he's been in. And the two of them were outstanding so they can make their decisions. I mean, I thought this was a really good pitch from him. I thought he did a good job explaining that, like, look, I've been here all the time, but like I've been trying to put in my best effort. I thought it was a good way for him. It was a good way for him to show that like he's not expendable. Like though he keeps ending up in the bottom, it's not because of anything he's doing. It just happens to be that way. So again, good work from Paul here, I thought. So Ariel then makes the pitch saying that she thinks that she has done all she could possibly do for all of them to survive on Mars and been very fair and honest and would really love to be here and continue being part of the team. Paul also says that he feels he wasn't put in the best position, but did everything he could with the task he was given, and that's all he could really ask for. And then we get to Lance, and Lance does something that I really just was not shocked about, considering the way the episode was going. Basically, he says that they know the drill. This is a hard part for people to advocate for themselves and make hard decisions, but he will fully confess life on Mars isn't easy, and they can put 12 strangers in a room and expect everyone to get along, and that's what he's really struggling with. So he thinks moving forward that he will be a liability, not just for himself, but for the team. So while it's been an honor, he has decided to exit the project, thus basically quitting the game. And look, am I happy to see Lance go? Absolutely. I have not been a fan of him, admittedly, since, the whole thing happened with the comment he made about like transgender athletes and things like that. I've really soured on him since then. But I feel like he, as a player, has just been really disappointing overall. I think that it very much comes across to me as he just didn't want to be social, so he just like left the game because now he had to be social and he didn't want to do it anymore, which to me is like the definition of a sore loser. Like he was upset because he had to deal with adversity, and the second he had to deal with any, he didn't know what to do, and it was just it was so frustrating to watch.
Yeah, he just hasn't like done anything to like help himself, prove himself, or anything. Like it's just so frustrating to watch, and just like it's just makes me so annoyed.
I think it's also like this is not the first time he's tried to quit the game. He tried to quit, if you remember, like when Ariel was base commander, and he nearly did it. And when he didn't, I was like, okay, he came to his senses. But the fact that he basically actually did it this time, I was like, yeah, honestly should have just quit right then and there, because it seemed like he just was like completely checked out after that. And it wasn't even for like a good reason. It was just, I don't want to be social with people. Like it was so fucking stupid. So yeah, Paul asked him why he do this after investing so much time being here, which is a completely valid answer because he has invested a lot of time. And Tinashe then asks Lance if he actually wants to go, and he says 100%. And then Ariel says that he's a wild card sometimes and didn't expect that. And Tinashe is shocked since Lance, and this is something that came as a shock to me. I don't remember this. If this happened in an earlier episode, he might have said this, but I don't remember this. Apparently, Lance made a final 2 with them and like wanted them to get to the end, and he wanted to he thought that was his best shot of like being the last man standing. First of all, Tinashe would have kicked his ass in the end. Like absolutely, there's no stronger. She's so much stronger than him in so many areas. Like, she would wipe the floor clean with Lance. So that's a bad final 2 all around. Second, when did this happen? I don't remember this. Like, was this something that was discussed in an earlier episode? Do you remember? Because I was confused about this.
Yeah, I didn't remember that either. I have to go back and watch some scenes then, because that confused me a little bit.
Yeah, maybe it was maybe he agreed to that when she was base commander, but that must have been forever ago, because I don't remember.
Yeah.
But needless to say, yeah, Tinashe is pretty shocked and disappointed about this, because it did seem like that was something she was potentially thinking of sticking to, is going to the Lance. So
yeah, that'd be very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, she wins, I think, in that scenario. But, Porsha says that this is not easy at all, but they have to make this decision. And so she does decide to save Ariel and Paul, meaning that Lance is the next person extracted. Kat is heartbroken, as Lance was her ride or die, and they got to be such fast friends, and that she could trust him 100%. And at this point, I was very just disappointing. Kat, it was I really just hope you don't do the same thing that he did, where your closest ally leaves and you just check out of the game after that. And we'll get into something I think Kat actually did pretty well at the end of this episode. But yeah, I mean, Lance leaving here. Adam says that Lance was a tough competitor, but that they all know it can be really lonely. And this is his 14th day here. And it's really tough emotionally and physically to get to this point. I mean, Adam has a point, but it's also Lance didn't literally almost quit the game once before. I don't think this is this is why I don't feel sympathy for him. It's he nearly quit the game just because he finally felt some sort of adversity. Anytime he feels like he's in a losing position, he doesn't try to fight through it. He just wants to leave. And that to me is so fucking lame. And it's so disrespectful to the players that actually want to fight it out, actually want to play this game hard. It's you might as well just not be here if you're going to do that. It's just really disappointing when someone does that overall.
Oh, definitely. It's very disappointing and just not good.
Yeah, and then what he says at the end frustrated me even more. He's the hardest part for him was a social component. He's not a social person, had no expectations of being popular, but every minute of every day that he's been here, he's given 100%, but he's happy with his decision. Cool, you're happy with your decision. It was a stupid decision. I'll leave it at that. It was a dumb decision. Yeah. But yeah, Lance decides to leave the game there. Ariel then asks Adam how he's doing, and he says that it was crazy, and Kat then hugs her, and Kat then says when Lance left, it dawned on her that this is a game that has to be a really social game. And we actually get a really good moment from Kat at the end of this episode that actually impressed me from her. Because she realizes, oh my God, this is a social game. I really need to turn it on and be social, which is what Lance should have done in the first
literally.
And I like that she recognized, I'm not going to do the same thing. So she's going to have to really adjust herself and think what she really needs to do to survive here. So she goes to Paul, and I love what she does. She tells Paul.
Oh, I love this.
She says, look, if you want to be base commander tomorrow, I'm 100% down for it. She's going to nominate him, but she will be his mission specialist, and they're going to have each other's backs, and he agrees. And I thought this was such a great move from Kat, because it's listen,
that was honestly one of the Kat moments that I actually liked.
Yeah, I thought this was great, because it's they're at a disadvantage already, so it's so easy to rope him in and be look, let's work together as the two newbies that are left in the house. We can join forces. Yep. We can do whatever we want. I just have to be mission specialist, and if you're down for that, then I will absolutely nominate you as base commander. It's again, this is literally what Lance should have done. He should have connected with somebody that maybe he wasn't as close with, but maybe felt a little bit of a bond with, maybe a Porsha that would have been good with. He could have maybe linked up with Porsha or a Tinashe, and I think he would have been in a much better spot had he have done that. Not just assume that they're against him because, oh, they're working with Ariel. They can still work with Ariel, but also work with Lance. And I think he just didn't think about that at all, and that just really annoyed me. And that's why I just really like what Kat did here, where it's okay, I'm going to do what I can to make sure that you're in a good spot, but I also have to be in a good spot. And I thought that was a really good balance from her overall.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah, so that's how we end this episode. We're gonna go.
Yeah, she's definitely not the smartest in the house, but she's still like that was good.
Yeah, I thought this was really good. So we get to what was I gonna say? We get to that's the end of episode 9. We're gonna get into episode 10, which I thought was another really good episode. Not as good as the last one, but I still really did like it. Adam and Porsha talk about their other space dog they haven't named. They explain to Kat about it and decide to name it Plutoto. The second they focus on the dog, I'm like, oh God, this is going to be really stupid. Something ridiculous is going to happen. And lo and behold, something ridiculous did end up happening that we'll get into. But Marshawn is then going through the decontaminator, but it's experiencing technical difficulties. I thought that was somehow going to tie into the mission. It does not. It's just a random thing that they did. Basically, we then see Ariel tells Adam that she wears fuzzy socks to bed every night, which he questions that she wears socks to sleep. Tinashe says that she's a sock sleeper, and Adam is astonished that Ariel wears socks for germ precaution. This was like a little funny moment, I thought, between the three of them. But Ariel says that she was on a high last night because...
Oh, yeah, that was funny.
Yeah.
I love the fuzzy socks thing was so, like, just killed me.
Yeah, it was funny. But Ariel says that she felt like she was on a high last night because she felt like she did such an amazing job at the mission that was really tough for her. Then it was a bit of a low because she got put into the bottom 3, which she didn't think was fair. And this morning, she's just a little bit upset about it. She's feeling like she's the target to go home. So today, she hopes she can be either base commander or mission specialist because she doesn't want to go home just yet. And this is what I like about Ariel. Like, she's not going down without a fight. She's going to do what she can to make sure that she's in a good position. She's really good socially. It's just, it kind of seems like nobody wants to choose her to be the mission specialist, unfortunately. And so I think it's good she wants to try to be base commander.
Yeah, like, I felt really bad for her there because, like, it seems like nobody wants her to be, like, base commander again.
Yeah, which, I mean, not necessarily her fault. It's not like they want to target her. It's just they have other people in mind. And, you know, this is kind of what I thought was going to happen with Ariel eventually. Like, there were going to be alliances that were formed that she just, like, was not involved in, and she was going to come up short. I just didn't expect it to happen this quickly. I thought she was going to get, like, 4th. I didn't think she was going to go when she does, you know? So, yeah. So Adam tells her that he thinks that this whole thing has been really good to push her, and she says that it has. And Captain says that they're getting to the end of the experiment, and she's putting everything into showing her full potential every day. Her strategy is to really have commodity with all the crew members over different food and intends on making it all the way. And I mean, it's working for her because, again, they want to keep the cook in the house. They don't want to get rid of the cook. They want the food, and they know that she's there for it. So I thought
that's true.
It's working out for her. We then get this really funny moment with Paul and Marshawn.
This was so hilarious. This is hilarious. I love this.
Yeah, Paul asked Marshawn if he wants to try ketchup and mustard on chips, which Marshawn finds disgusting. I'm going to ask you, if someone came up to you and they said, hey, I got some chips, but they're missing something. And they pull out a huge thing of ketchup and a huge thing of mustard, and they just, like, pour it all over their chips. Would you consume that?
I'd be like, no, ketchup and mustard don't go on chips. This is not a hot dog. Like, I mean, I like ketchup chips.
I was gonna say
don't
ketchup
get me wrong.
chips. So I feel like that's
but ketchup, like actual ketchup and mustard on chips, no.
I don't know. I might try that actually and see if maybe it
I kind of want to try it though, just to see what it tastes like, but
yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be edible. Maybe I'll do a follow-up video to this where I consume chips with ketchup and mustard, and I tell you if it's edible or not. We'll see. That might be fun to do. But Catherine feels that they're very comfortable with each other in the hab now. It's come down to the 7 of them, and they all want to be there. And Paul says that he wants to be base commander because he feels like he's had a chance to watch. And at first he didn't understand that role, but now thinks that he's ready to lead the troops on a successful mission. So Kat tells Paul that she'll nominate him if he wants to be BC and she wants to be his mission specialist. She says that he's up for the mission and knew that he would be because she's always seen the leader within him. Again, Kat was really good, I thought, in this episode. Like, this was
she was.
I thought that
This is actually like a really good episode for her.
Yeah, I thought she was kind of going downhill for a bit, but I think she really bounced back in this one. Like, I think she did a good job of like getting him with Paul. Paul basically now seeing her as like his closest ally, them like really bonding throughout the episode. This was a really good episode for Kat, I think. So Kat says that she'll support Paul and back him up if he wants to be base commander, but again, she wants to be a mission specialist as they are safe no matter what. So it gets time to pick a new base commander, and Paul immediately volunteers, but Ariel also is doing the same thing. He says that he's been at the bottom every time he's been here. He's sitting back and watching everyone and thinks that he's ready for it. And Ariel says that she wanted to do it, but everyone seems down for who hasn't been base commander. So again, she's just kind of at a disadvantage here where it's like, well, no one's really into it. And
I felt for her there because I mean, like everyone, I mean, obviously like it's cool that he wanted to step up because he hasn't been, but it also, and like since he's always been the bottom, but it would have been cool.
And also the only time she was base commander, there was even some like discrepancy over that. Like there were people that didn't want her to be base commander then either. So she really just can't catch a break when it comes to like being base commander. So yeah, I mean, I really felt for Ariel in this moment, but basically it comes down to it. They come down to the vote. Ariel feels that there are people who are more close than others, and she thought that Kat was on her own vibes, but then she kind of noticed Kat and Paul have on a bit, which is negative for her. So again, I think she has good reads. Like she recognizes, like, yeah, I'm not in a great spot. Everyone else is kind of with somebody else, which is true. I mean, Porsha, Adam, and Tinashe are always going to be the most loyal to each other. I think Ariel is their fourth, but like,
but she's kind of alone, and so is Marshawn.
Well, here's the thing. I think even Marshawn is in a better position because Marshawn has Paul, Marshawn has Porsha. Porsha, with Marshawn.
From their bonds, but he doesn't really have an alliance with them.
Yeah, and then you have.
I feel like Paul and Kat will always be loyal to each other.
Yeah. And then Tinashe, Adam, and Porsha will always be loyal to each other. So, yeah, Adam and Marshawn, I mean, Ariel and Marshawn are really not in a great spot. Specifically, Ariel.
So they, like, should have teamed up.
Well, at least with Marshawn, he's good on the field, whereas Ariel, like, is really not. So, I think that's really
also, and I literally, like, when the season started, Ariel and Marshawn were, like, the ones that gave me, like, the winner energy at first.
Yeah, I mean, Marshawn still could. We'll see. I'm feeling less and less confident every episode with him. I just don't see him winning this game. But we'll see. Basically, Tinashe says her only real concern with Paul is that the one thing to go through the mission, but it's another to receive the brief or whatever, and asks if he'd really be able to handle it. And he says that he's good with basic instructions and communicating. And I will just say, the second he said that, I'm like, oh God, Paul is going to be so bad at this when he said that. I would have said, no, we're not voting Paul just for that reason. But Kat then thinks he's capable and puts her vote in for him. I honestly give it to Kat here. I think Kat is the reason that Paul ended up being the base commander because she put in a lot of goodwill for him here. And Tinashe asks Ariel if she's nominating, and she says that she did, but they can just take it as a vote. So they all put it to the vote. Porsha says that Ariel putting her hand up is just being smart, knowing what she's good at, knowing she's better behind the scenes than on the field. So the votes are read, and it's decided that Paul is going to be base commander this round. And Ariel
was very close. I think it was like 3-2 or something.
It was probably like the closest vote we've had. And I will say, I was very happy they showed all the votes this time around because I had an issue the last 2 episodes ago where they said, like, I think Marshawn had like a rogue vote for Lance, and we didn't even get to see that. So I'm glad that we actually got to see all
that was crazy. Oh my God.
Yeah, so I'm glad we actually got to see the votes this time. So, basically Ariel's not too happy about this as he has no real experience whatsoever and didn't think that he would be a great choice. We'll get into if her suspicions are correct. Spoilers, they are. But he promises not to let any of them down, and he appreciates the opportunity. He's feeling great, ready to lead them, and the pressure is all on. So Porsha is then astonished when Marshawn we get this great scene with Marshawn again. This is the Marshawn that I love. Marshawn is going to the kitchen and he's like, "Oh, I was cleaning up the orange peels." And Portia's like, "What? You were like cleaning up for yourself?" And she's just like astonished about this. Takes the dishes to the kitchen, says that he's a new man. Adam's also surprised. They joke that Mercury must be in retrograde.
Oh, that was so good. He's back to his like normal fun self.
Yeah, she says she thinks they've been on Mars too long and she's never seen a cleaning product on his hands and that this is crazy. I thought this was such a funny moment.
That was like one of the best. It was so great.
Yeah, it was great to see. So we get yet another great segment, and I've said this before. I mean, just some of my favorite moments on this show is Adam and the AI bonding. It's so funny to watch. We get another moment here where the AI asks Adam why humans fold sheets, and it's such a random question, but it's like a thing an AI would do, like just a really random question like that. And he says there's nothing better than a nicely folded sheet. His worst nightmare is the things that aren't folded. The AI says that they'll only get creased when you sleep in on them, and he tells the AI how nice it looks, which the AI says is illogical, and asks if there's another reason to fold them. He says it makes other people feel bad. The AI doesn't understand humans, and Adam says he's sorry that the truth hurts. Not gonna lie, I think the AI made some good points here. It's like, yeah, once you sleep on the sheet, it's no longer folded. So what is the point? You know?
This scene or this segment was so funny. Like, I honestly, this is the only kind of like AI we like, because like just give like a show with Adam and the AI.
Yeah, definitely.
It's so good.
For sure.
It's like so unhinged, but it's so funny.
Yeah, it's great. So Paul then assigns the base duties for the day. He says that with the experiment winding down, they must take note of what supplies they have left and not to forget to note supply in the biodome. He has chosen Ariel and Tinashe to take on this task. Ariel then asks Tinashe, they head out and they check the supplies. Ariel says that the robo dogs don't replace real dogs who are warm and cuddly and don't have screens on them, which, she's true about that. But Tinashe then asks her how she feels about Paul being BC, and she's not too happy about it. She wanted to be BC, so she's not super into it, especially since she thinks it's the thing she can contribute the most. She does feel her best always, that she's best at being a BC and thinks that she is suited the best for it. So, yeah, I mean, I think Tinashe was really her only saving grace of like potentially becoming BC, but she's unfortunately outnumbered here. So it just didn't happen.
Sadly.
And I think, honestly, like, I thought early on, like, they were going to be each other's number ones. But I think once Tinashe was presented with, like, that final three with, like, Adam and Porsha, I think she just kind of, like, stuck to that. And Ariel kind of came up short, unfortunately.
Yeah. Agreed. Like, Ariel was just kind of, like, the bottom of the barrel there.
Yeah, she really was. So Kat's in the biodome. Her and Adam are taking notes of what each plan is. He asks Paul if he's excited to be BC, and he says finally. And then Adam says that at this point, everyone who is here wants to be here and everyone who wants to make it to the very end. Him and Kat have worked together multiple times, and he knows that she's going balls to the wall. And Kat is then hoping that Paul sticks to their deal, but she feels that the two of them are outnumbered, having come in late, and an alliance being formed without them, and that they need to do it together. Again, really brilliant move from Kat, recognizing, like, Paul's the person I need to stick with here. Really great from her.
So good. She was super strategic in that sense.
Yeah, she was. So Porsha and Marshawn are auditing the remaining supplies of food. They realize that they will starve in about a day as they have no fresh food aside from 3 bags of tomatoes and whatever's in the biodome, which Porsha doesn't like to go into. But Porsha does go inside and sees that they're going to live. They have all these fresh vegetables. Again, just a really funny moment with her.
That was great. These episodes had a lot of like really great funny moments and stuff. It was just definitely back. It was definitely back to like what they like know best.
Yeah. So they go inside. Yeah, I do think the show is at its best when it doesn't take itself too seriously. I think when it recognizes like some of this is a little dumb, I think it's better. And that's why the emergency missions don't work for me, because they take them so deathly seriously when like it's really not that like important. So they go inside. Portia's happy that they're going to live. Paul then asks Marshawn, and I thought this was a really interesting scene from Paul.
It was.
Had approached him, and you think that Paul would just naturally just like stick with that. He asked Marshawn if he wants to be mission specialist, and he says that he has to be outside or he's going to lose his mind. This is why Marshawn's not going to win this game, because he doesn't want to like take the chance to like actually be inside again. He's done it once before. It's not for him. And I think that's going to hurt him in the end. I think he needs to be a little bit more willing to be like, yeah, I'll do it if you want me to. And I think that would be better for Marshawn, because I think that he's proven before he is good at being a mission specialist. He's good at being a base commander, but he doesn't want to do it again for some reason. So,
yep.
Yeah, Porsha says that she thought he was going to be, and he says that he thought she was going to be, and she asked why he wanted her to be a mission specialist so early. And we get a little bit of strategy from Porsha here. He asks what she's so nervous for. She says that they have to get rid of 2 people, and he realizes that she's trying to wait until Final 4 to be a mission specialist. And she says that strategy-wise, it would make sense to want to save herself later on. Marshawn says she's going to do some shady-ass shit at the end, but the best part is she won't feel any type of way about it, which, I mean, yeah, he's right. I think Porsha's not going to care about what she does because she's here to win, and she's killing it. So Paul says he thinks everything Porsha is doing is very strategic, and she has a game plan at the end. So he's really onto her game here, which really makes sense considering something he does a little bit later in the episode that we'll talk about. Marshawn says that he may just have to go with Kat, and Porsha says that Kat's good. Kat says that she would fucking crush it and has shown loyalty to the team, being the first person to nominate Paul for base commander. And Porsha says that he just has to choose somebody. And he says, what if he doesn't choose anyone? And she says that he will fail. And he tells the AI he doesn't trust anyone. And the AI says that it is a vital requirement that the base commander chooses the mission specialist. Of course, if he's not up to the job, it's more than happy to replace him, which I thought was a really funny moment overall. But with that said, let's get into the mission here, which Ellie is going to talk about. Oh, wait, no, we're not there yet. We have some more facts first.
All right. Adam tells everyone the first successful mission to Mars was NASA's Mariner 4 in 1965, which flew past the planet and sent back the first close-up images of Mars. Tinashe says she didn't do that much research on Mars before she got here. She thinks it's important that they study all the information they have about Mars, so they have this big manual, which I honestly like this segment a lot, actually.
Yeah, this was fun.
Ariel tells everyone Mars makes a complete orbit around the sun in 687 Earth days, which means a year on Mars is close to 2 years on Earth. Tinashe says because a Mars year is basically equivalent to 2 Earth years, they're aging at half the rate, so they're just getting younger by the day, and they're aging backwards. Porsha tells everyone their generation isn't going to go to the moon, but Ariel says people want to go. And Adam says he won't even drive to Santa Monica. He's not going to the moon. Porsha asks if it's $250,000 to go, which Tinashe says thinks it's $250 million. And then Ariel says it's expensive, and Porsha asks about a Groupon, which makes them laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was definitely a fun little moment.
Yeah.
Fun little segment. Have some facts.
Definitely.
Shatner comes on and tells them about this round's emergency. He says the Rad Dog has run away and has wandered out of the safety of the Hab perimeter and gone missing and might have fallen down a deadly marsh shaft. The crews must locate and recover the missing dog. This mission will test their bravery and earn them a mission badge. And in an answer to the age-old question from his good friends like Bahaman, it is Paul who let the dogs out. Paul then lets them know what Marshawn requested, and he selects Kat as the mission specialist, who is elated. He kept his word, and also that she is safe tonight.
Yeah, can I just say, I really just feel like this mission, more than any of them, is like the best example of like, we don't know what to do right now. Like, we are just going with the most like simple mission possible. You're literally just rescuing a dog. That's all they're doing. They're locating and rescuing a dog. This was so dumb. Like, this was easily, I think, the worst one they've done by far. This
feels
like they're.
I did not like this mission at all. Like they should just like do more like the one last round.
Yeah, do more stuff inside than outside because it feels like outside they're really reaching most of the time.
Literally, it's just a reach. The AI tells them that Mars is a vast terrain, and their rover team has 30 minutes to complete the mission, which they are both freaking out about, and as the distance is about 10 miles. And then during the mission, Paul pronounces Tinashe's name wrong, and she calls him cocky, which I thought was pretty funny.
Yeah. Oh, that was great.
That was so good.
Yeah, he's like Tinashe, and she's like, it's Tinashe.
No, it was so good. Such a good segment. She also isn't sure if Paul is really ready for this position, as he keeps giving them all bad directions, which costs them for a while. Ariel is also frustrated by how confusing his instructions are. Yeah, he's definitely not a good base commander.
Yeah, Paul, I thought was honestly very disappointing here, and I think that Tinashe was right in having doubts about him. He just did not do a good job of like taking direction. I don't think he did a good job of like really just making sure like they were focused. He really just kind of like created all these like unnecessary obstacles, and I feel like the mission was successful like in spite of him, not because of him. I feel like in any other scenario, like this mission fails and he probably goes. So yeah, not great.
Yeah, he probably would have left if he was in the bottom 3 of this round, like if he wasn't base commander or mission specialist.
Yeah.
Kat eventually has to take over, and the instructions become much clearer. When Ariel enters the tunnel, she ends up falling onto a rock, but thankfully is able to recover, and despite many errors in the beginning, they are able to luckily rescue their Robodog and successfully complete the mission. Another successful mission, which I literally thought this one was going to be unsuccessful.
Yeah.
Paul is also very happy to be safe for the first time all game, which is honestly, it is a good arc for him for sure.
I mean, yeah, I don't think he handled his power well, but yeah.
No, not at all. He should have just been mission specialist. Like, if anything. He then debriefs with Kat a bit, who mentions how Ariel fell in the cave and seems like she was struggling and having a hard time. He thinks asking Porsha and Ariel to do physical stuff is tough. Kat says this is bittersweet because no one wants to go home and no one wants to send them home, so the last place will be the MVPs, as ultimately they end up saving Tinashe and Adam, which I will say we do not I mean, obviously we love Tinashe and Adam, we don't want them down there, but we also don't like this bottom 3.
Yeah, I think at this point it's just a testament to how likable everyone left is.
Literally.
Still not the biggest fan of Paul, but I like everyone else.
I don't even dislike Paul. He's just kind of there sometimes. Like he's definitely
there. I think he's just not great.
He's not the most strategic, really. Like he has some good moments, but he's just not the best player.
Yeah, I think that Paul, again, I mean, literally when he was base commander, like Kat had to take over, like giving them like all their commands and shit. Like he was just not very good at it at all.
Yeah, he wasn't. Like it should have been the other way around, if anything, you know?
Yeah, I really should have.
Porsha says it's really simple. She found the flare where the dog was located, and they could have lost the mission if she didn't, so it's just factual.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much sums it up there.
Yep. Marshawn thinks they're trying to get Porsha out, and Ariel says it sucks to know one of their original team members will be going home, which sucks because we love all of them so much.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was honestly glad it was one of the original team members going home because I just didn't want it to be like the 4 newbies in a row because it really
that makes sense. Like it's definitely keeps it more like it sucks. Like yes, it sucks, but it also keeps it more interesting.
Well, prior to this episode, I felt like the newbies twist was a bust. They're not serving like anything. They're not giving us anything to like really latch onto. But I feel like both Kat and Paul did pick up the steam a bit in these last 2 episodes. And I think they are contributing more than they have prior. So I think maybe the newbies twist wasn't as bad as I thought it was.
Yeah, exactly. Marshawn gives a pitch saying he did the task and that he was asked of, and that's what they're supposed to do, so that's what he did. And then he says that he's not nervous about his position at all. Kat asks how they feel about Marshawn not knowing what to say, and Tinashe says he never knows what to say.
Yeah.
They know he's just like the fun guy.
Yeah, I thought that was great.
That was so funny.
Yeah, they're like, are you concerned about this? They're like, no, that's just Marshawn.
It's so good. Oh, it was great. She has her concerns that he likes to joke a lot, and with the place they're in now and the seriousness of this mission, he may keep them from winning. That's
something to worry about.
Yeah, Marshawn is just a clown. Like, he's just always a jokester.
Oh yeah.
Porsha mentions how she was able to locate the dog and point them in the correct direction of the flare, which helped them complete the mission.
Mm-hmm.
Paul tells everyone that has been saved that they have shown how great they are on the field, and inside and ask who's important not only for today. Tinashe and Adam stick up for Porsha and say she is the most versatile and has never backed down.
Yeah, I mean, right away, they are doing what they can to, like, protect Porsha. Like I said, these three are just, like, running circles around everyone.
Oh, literally, they are. Like, they're literally just, like, trying to keep her there, you know?
Yeah.
Adam also says Ariel's strength is back at the Hab, and she did struggle and maybe is the least versatile.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah. And then Tinashe thinks she's a great communicator and leader, and Paul thinks there's no right answer.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, yeah, there is no right answer. But
no.
Something happens next that I thought was pretty shocking.
It was super shocking and, like, sad.
Yeah.
Ariel then gives a pitch saying she's not usually an emotional person, but is feeling a little bit emo. She says she came here and didn't think she'd make it past the first mission, and has overcome a lot of things, not thinking she'd ever rappel down a cliff, but has loved being in this team and enjoyed the missions, even the hard ones in the stupid ass suit. But she loves the word fair, and she was not mission critical, and as such, she deserves to go. And Paul asks if she's ready to go, and she says yes. So it's like she basically, like, gave up, which sucks. Like, that does not seem like Ariel at all.
Yeah, I
thought she could have made it to at least, like, the finale or the second last episode.
My thing with this is, like, I get it that she realized that she's not in a great spot, and she's probably not going to be base commander or mission specialist, and, like, she just doesn't want to, like, embarrass herself anymore. But I feel like Ariel has been such a prominent character this entire season. Like, she's had so much going on with, like, Lance, so much drama. Like, she's been someone that people are, like, very fearful of because she speaks her mind and things like that. She's been so strategic as well in the way that she, like, looks at people's games. And so for her to just kind of go out in such a unceremonious fashion in this way, where she's just like, yeah, I'm leaving and I'm fine with it, which is very disappointing. I just felt like, in general, I just feel like she could have stuck it out a bit more. Like, I understand, like, it's a little bit more understandable versus Lance, who at least Ariel tried to, like, gain her footing in the game, but just really kind of came up short. I think I just would have preferred if they had her go, because they figured she was the least, like, mission critical, and not her deciding to leave. It was just a little bit underwhelming in that way. So I don't know. Ariel was someone who was so heavily shown throughout the season that I just thought she was going to make it a lot further than she did.
I did too. Like, she could have made the finale. Like I said, the finale, or at least the semifinals. And it's like,
yeah,
it sucks. Like, but I do get it, obviously. But, like, I do feel for her a lot.
Yeah, for sure. Are you gonna read the rest?
Yeah. Sorry, I was just on Twitter.
Oh, then don't look at that until we're done.
Tinashe says it sucks, but at the same time, all she can do is respect it. With that, he then saves Marshawn and Porsha, making Ariel the next crew member extracted from the game.
Yeah, I mean, Ariel was just so much fun this entire season. I think that she had such a great strategic mind. And I think if this game was a lot more, like, social than it was, and, like, it wasn't so focused on the missions, I think she honestly would have crushed it. I think what really hindered her is she's just not good at the physical components, unfortunately. So it's like, you know, we'll see what really, you know, I'm hoping that this is not the last we see of Ariel Winter on, like, reality TV. I'd love to see her take on other shows. Like, If they do another Celebrity Brother, I'd love to see
she should definitely be on CBB for sure, or maybe even Survivor. She'd do really good on that.
I don't think she would. I honestly don't think she'd do as well on Survivor. She's not great at the physical aspect. I think
that's true.
Like a much more like social game, and Big Brother is a social game. And I wouldn't say Survivor isn't. Survivor is definitely like she's very strategic in that way, but I think she kind of have a very hard time in Survivor. How she had a hard time.
Yeah, she could have a tough time there too, but she could also be on the circle. That'd be a fun one.
Mm-hmm.
That would be super fun to see her on there.
Yeah.
Adam says he's in shock. He gets where she's coming from, and in this mission, she did fall short. But in his eyes, she's one of the most mission-critical people of this entire experiment, which I completely agree.
Yeah.
Adam says he's in shock. He gets where she's coming from, and oh, sorry, I read that. Ariel says she didn't expect to be so emotional, but she got a lot of great things out of this, a lot of friendships and personal growth, and is glad she did it, even though it was a little bit of hell. It's very hard for her to open up that real and vulnerable space, and now she thinks she's open and ready for anything. She feels at peace and good to go.
Yeah, I mean, again, just really sucks that she went out this way. I would have loved to see her like gain her footing, and I would have loved to see her like go a bit farther. I really thought she was going to be here till 4, but I think it really just came down to the fact that like she's like, I'm really only good at one thing, and if no one's going to, put me in that position, then I feel like it'd be best for me to just kind of bow out now. So sucks, but just how it went.
Yeah, it definitely sucks. But I mean, she still did amazing. She still made it pretty far. But yeah, it definitely sucks, but I'm proud of her regardless.
Mm-hmm.
Paul then asked Porsha about spotting the flare.
Oh, before you say that, I was going to say, though it is a sour note to end on with Ariel, the end of this episode I thought was very exciting. I'm very interested to see how it plays out.
Oh my God, same. It's going to be like so interesting for sure.
Yeah.
Paul asks Porsha about spotting the flare. Marshawn says she's lying, and which Porsha says no. She says as base commander, she could have asked that question. He says people need to stop looking at the bottom 3 like it's a penalty, and she says she didn't say it was, but she's just critiquing him too. And she says when she told him what her reasoning was, and then if she hadn't have eliminated herself, what would he have done? And he says she would have gone.
Yeah, I love it.
This was honestly pretty spicy.
Yeah, the way he literally just says to her, like, yeah, you would have been gone no matter what. Like, he's joking about it, but I generally feel like Paul would have taken her out, like, regardless of what she said, which is...
Yeah, I could see that. Like, it's hard to say what he would have done, but I could see that.
No, I don't think it's hard to say at all, because, like, you see his confessionals, like, prior to this, talking about how she's, like, a really big threat, talking about how, like, she's very strategic. I think he put her in the bottom 3 as a deliberate effort to take her out, and I'm very interested in seeing, like, who really is going to win here, because I think they're going to have, like, this rivalry now of sorts, and I'm interested to see, who's gonna win here. Is it going to be Porsha or is it going to be Paul? Because something we do hear in the next episode, there's no more base commander. So, like, the game is so much more open now, and we'll have to see, like, what actually happens.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be so interesting because of, like, the trailers saying for next week saying that there's no base commander. It's going to be interesting.
And I would assume no mission specialist either.
And also, there's one more thing. Porsha says, while Marshawn treats her like his little sister, Paul feels like someone who she grew up with in high school or something. He says they can say whatever, but it's a competition show, and she's going to beat his ass.
Yes, she will. Yes, she will. I do think that is how this is going to end. I think this is going to be like an Andy and Kat sort of thing where, like, she gets the better of him, and I'm very excited to see how that plays out. So, yeah, we have 2 episodes left. We now are in, I think it's final 6. Yeah, there's 6 people left.
It's down to Marshawn, Porsha, Adam, Tinashe, Kat, and Paul.
Yeah, very interesting final 6, I think. Like I said, at this point, I will be shocked if it's not Porsha, Tinashe, or Adam winning. I will be shocked. I also will be shocked if Kat and Paul are not the ones who leave next. I think Paul's next, like for sure.
I can see it being
have,
Paul and Kat, and then like the final 4 of the originals.
Yeah, not only did he have such a terrible like reign as base commander, he literally just exposed to Porsha like what he was going to do if he was base commander, which is not great. So I feel like he's definitely like going to be fucked next round. I mean, maybe I'll be wrong. We'll see what happens. Maybe he'll be able to like pick up the pieces, but especially with no base commander, that's really going to hurt Paul, because I think his best chance was for Kat to be base commander, but now that
if there's no base commander, there's no mission specialist either.
Yeah, that means Portia's strategy is not going to work. So
yeah, it's sure going to be interesting to watch, because we don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think that's something any of them are expecting either. So I'm interested to see how they're going to
like how are they going to figure out who the bottom are, and like.
Yeah, and also just I think it's going to be interesting to see, how the rest of this game plays out. What is the end game going to be? How is that all going to play out? We've never seen that on this show before, so I'm interested to see how it all ends up going. I'm just really hoping we have a really two really good episodes, and seeing how
hopefully very good, hopefully very eventful. I'm very excited.
Yeah, I mean, I will say
two more.
Finally, right? It feels like it's gone on forever. But
I know.
Make the missions more interesting. I've been saying it all season. They're not going to, but like that would definitely be great, because I don't care about them at all. But with that said, before we do wrap this up, Allie, we are going to plug a few things. If you want to start off.
All right. So stay tuned for our cover of this week's Claim to Fame. We are going to be. And then you said we
are once again going to spend the majority of it baffled over the fact that they can't fucking figure out who Chris is, even though it's so obvious.
That's going to be so funny. And yes. I think you said next week they're taking a break before the last 2, right?
Yeah. Because The Bachelorette has a 2-hour finale, so that's why.
Oh yeah. Okay. So yeah. And then the last 2 are like the week after, so we're going to cover the last 2 together. Yeah. And then let's see, stay tuned for more for a recap of this week's Big Brother, which is very eventful and very insane.
Yeah, this is a crazy week. There might be a flip, there might not be. Who fucking knows at this point?
From what I'm reading, it seems like they're like very hit or miss. Like it might flip, it might not.
No,
I don't know.
I think they've settled on it not happening now, because like literally what Serene just did, I think it pretty much confirmed it's not happening.
Because I read a tweet that she said they're 50-50.
Yeah, and then she changed her mind and decided on not immediately.
But I don't know, because Izzy is talking to Jag right now, and so we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. This is turning into a season where we're not getting the best gameplay, but it's much more exciting.
It definitely gives like BB 9 vibes, where they're gonna flip every week.
Oh yeah,
I'm excited though. It's so good. It's so cracked.
Yeah, and then also eventually Traders, Circle, The Mole, look forward to coverage of those.
And then, of course, Secret Chef. And then excited for the new season of Survivor when that's back.
Yes, for sure.
And then like anything else, we'll maybe stay tuned, whatever, if there's anything else that we want to cover. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, definitely. But with that,
and also, guys, of course, if you ever want to be a guest, just hit us up.
Yeah, for sure. We would love to definitely have like different perspectives on here and get to see, different people who like these shows and things like that. This show in particular, I don't think a lot of people are watching. So if someone wanted to collab with us on it, that'd be amazing, because I feel like no one's fucking watching it. So
there's like I've only seen like very few people watching the show.
I mean, to be fair, it is very hard to sell someone on the concept of celebrities in Mars. It's like, no, that's dumb. I don't want to watch that. But for people who are, if you want to collab, go right ahead, because we would definitely enjoy that for sure. But other than that, guys, that's it for this video. As always, comment down below. Let us know what you guys are thinking of these latest episodes of Stars on Mars overall. Love your thoughts on that. And remember, couples who podcast together, stay together. We will see you guys later.
Have a good night, guys.